topic of today's video is tips for baby boomers on how to work more effectively with the younger workers in the workplace. As a baby boomer, I know that many of us are very judgmental of younger workers. We tend to think of them as lazy, being on their phones all the time, and just not really being top-notch workers, which we pride ourselves on being ourselves. But this judgment makes it a very unwelcoming work environment for younger workers, and it keeps us from really gaining value from the diversity that younger workers bring to the workforce. So if you're not familiar with generational theory, baby boomers were born between 1946 and 1964, and they were coming of age in the 60s and early 70s. The 60s and 70s were a time of great social unrest in America. There was the Vietnam War, the protests that went along with the Vietnam War, the civil rights movement and those protests. There was an environmental movement, a sexual revolution, a women's rights movement. There was all kinds of change going on in our society. And in that context, baby boomers were taught by their parents, first and foremost, respect authority. And in those days, in the 1960s, authority usually meant respect dad, respect the elder white men that were running society. And secondly, a very strong message that baby boomers got growing up was one of getting a good job. Job security was highly valued by their parents, who were post-Depression Americans. So those messages are very different than the messages that some of the younger workers received growing up. While boomers were taught that children should be seen but not heard, millennials were taught to express themselves. While boomers were taught to respect authority, millennials are taught to challenge authority. While boomers were taught to get a good job and work hard, millennials are taught to work smart. So these very different perspectives create a value clash in the workplace, where one generation wants to work smart and the other wants to work hard, where one respects experience and the other respects competence, where one thinks that work should be fun and the other, the boomers, think that work has to be hard and that fun is a distraction. So what does this all mean in terms of tips for how the boomers can work more effectively with the younger generations? Boomers have to get beyond our judgment of younger workers as being lazy. In my experience, it's just not true. And secondly, it can be really hurtful. And while it is true that younger workers value fun and flexibility and family as much as they value work, they are not lazy. They don't work 16 hours a day, but really they see us as being workaholics for working as hard as we do. And if we want to recruit and retain younger talent, the boomers, we really have to learn how to adopt some of their values and create workplaces that are more fun and more flexible and more family friendly. Secondly, when millennials and younger workers speak out and challenge us, we can't take it personally. They were taught to express themselves, they were taught to challenge authority, and it's not intended to be disrespectful in any way. Now, sometimes some of their ideas, aren't really very realistic. And when that happens, instead of judging them, our job is to teach them about the context so that they better understand which of their ideas can work and which, maybe have been tried and can't work. And then lastly, we need to be more open to change. The baby boomers in the 1960s and 1970s were champions of change. In the workplace now, baby boomers are often champions of stability. We've lost much of that cutting edge, that sense of purpose, that wanting to change things and improve things. And the younger workers often hold this up. And really, it's our job now to reconnect with some of the idealism of our youth, do some letting go, and empower the younger workers to try some of their ideas to make it better. It makes us uncomfortable because we have to learn new technology, we have to adapt, but really part of our job is being open to change and getting out of the way. So if we can manage our judgments and be more open to fun and flexible workplaces, if we can not take things personally when millennials challenge us, if we can commit to educating and mentoring them so that they know the work environment and the context, and if we can be more open to change, I think we can create the kind of workplaces that will thrive because there's youth and there's energy that will change and adapt and really be successful moving forward. I hope these tips are useful for you. Please give me your feedback, send me some comments, and there'll be upcoming videos for some of the younger generations. Take care.